So in last video I have discussed about the basics of camera and the light control system. So today I will discuss about the second most important component of the photography which can enhance your photography skills is the composition. Composition means the characters and the content in your frame. That frame may be horizontal, that frame may be vertical. So that frame and the content in the frame constitute your composition. So I will talk about some practical points, not the theoretical points. So first practical point is that if you have any frame that is vertical or horizontal frame, so in all frames we divide the frame into 9 squares or rectangles by dividing 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines. So we have made now 8 squares or rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These two lines and these two lines, 1 junction, 2 junction, 3 junction, 4 junction. So at these junctions our main subject should be there. If portrait is there, that should be at the junction of the right 1/3 to the left 1/3, or left 1/3 or the right 1/3. Similarly, horizon in case of landscapes should always be at the lower line or the upper line. It should never be in the dead center in a horizontal plane. Similarly, if you are taking a portrait, that person should never be in the dead center of the frame. So even if you are a new beginner, you keep on flipping the pages of some photography book, or you simply take the magazine or you take the newspaper and try to study the photographs that are taken in or present in those magazines or newspapers. You will always see that in case of portrait or some live characters which are present in the frame, they are not in the dead center. There is some activity happening on the other side of the frame and the main character is at the 1/3 junction of the 1/3 and the 2/3. Similarly, in case of landscapes, so if we want to show some expression, some character of the sky, so in that case we bring down the horizon. Our main stress is on the sky and part of the foreground will be there. But if we want to show something over the foreground, that may be some water body, that may be some, you can say, jungle scene with animals or the people moving on the foreground. In that case we have to bring up the horizon. We are not much interested in the sky, but we are more interested in the foreground, where some activity is taking place, where some leading lines are there, where some other characters are there. So we want to show the picture or show the character or the activity that is taking place in the foreground. So these are the two main things that we have to keep in mind. In case of portrait, what is the most important thing that I have told you? The place of that person in the frame. Second is the focusing over the eyes of the person. So we always make it that have our focus on the eyes of the person. So in that case, eyes are sharp. So in that picture looks good. If nose is sharp, eyes are blurry, that picture will not be a good picture or good photograph. One thing. Second main thing, that in case of some activity or some person or some character is in the frame. So you must always frame the photograph in such a way that that moving character, maybe some human being or some animal or bird, that should always be moving into the frame. If this is my frame, suppose this my hand is total frame, this is, if somebody is here and facing this side, that means that person is at the margin of the frame, and that too moving out of the frame. If somebody at this margin, that means that person should be looking on the opposite side, and that will give the expression that the person is entering into the frame, not moving out of the frame. So that should always be there, and you can check it yourself without thinking over it, that person is going into or out of the frame. If you take 5, 4, 6, 7 pictures, in those pictures you will find that the photographs that you like, the person, the animal or character, will always be entering into the frame instead of going out of the frame. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind while framing the photograph. Second thing, when you are framing the photograph, if the main character is there, that is some you can say interesting spot, person is doing some activity, some person is showing the natural expressions, or birds or animals doing some activity. So in that case we have to frame in such a way that our main stress should always be on that person, and that person should always be on a respective correct position, depending upon the rule of third or the other things. So there should not be unwanted structures, should not be present. If some person is there, some portrait is there, there should not be some extra character or extra tree going over the head of the patient, and it looks like that is growing out of the head. There should not be some other distracting elements, extra some sharp shadows or extra element, something lying there backside, some bottles are there or something like other character. So until unless that character or that subject or that object is giving some value to the frame, so that should always be avoided